Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the Inside Spurs channel. Guys, the Wednesday's over. It's here, it's done. There's 2 more days and it's the weekend. You can enjoy yourselves no matter what you're doing, all right? So well done for getting through today. This was probably the video that I was most looking forward to of the day, actually. You'll see on the thumbnail who the main thing is about. Obviously, Eberechi Eze, or Eberechi, however you might want to say it, but Eze is the guy that we're going to be talking about a lot on today. We've also got updates around the Bayern Kane situation. I'm not going to spend long on it. I'm just going to give you the quick little rundown and update from it. And then we're also going to be talking a little bit about the transfer situation at Spurs, because we do have an update around the transfer situation at Spurs, and obviously a update around Brennan Johnson. So there's a lot to get into. I'm not going to stall. We're jumping straight in with Eze. So this came from Alisdair Gold. So he said that Ange Postecoglou likes working with young players, which has seen an influx of players at the lower end of age divide, joining his team with Mickey van der Ven, Alisdair Eze, Destiny Udogie and Pape Matar all set to play differing roles this season. It is why the shortlist of targets in various positions for Postecoglou contains the likes of Gift Orban, Brennan Johnson, Per Schurz, Conor Gallagher, and Spurs continue to monitor the situation with Eberechi Eze, another CAA-based client, particularly with Brian Hill out of action after his groin surgery, okay? Interesting is the first thing I'm going to say about that. A very talented winger. I know he had that really big injury a couple of years ago, but a very talented winger. And this is what Crystal Palace do. Crystal Palace seem to just spawn in really talented wingers. It's like Brighton finding this under-12 Malaysian goalkeeper, Peru centre-half, and a Honduran winger, and all being able to sell them for about 70 million in about 5 years' time. Crystal Palace find wingers. They know how to get wingers. You think of Zaha, Balassi, Elise, Eze. These guys spawn through. It's ridiculous. But yeah, so obviously a big point on that is the CAA-based limited agency. Someone that Spurs really use a lot. They get on very well with that firm. Some of our players in the current first team squad they are represented by them as well. So it's an easy sort of mediator between the two clubs. Should we go for Eze? So when we look at Eze, let's look at some of his stats, okay? So if you're not aware of Eberechi Eze, he's 25 years old. He's got about 2 years left on his deal. So if Palace are going to cash in, this would be the summer. When you think about it, this is probably the summer he's going to have the most amount of value. When we look at transfer market, they actually valued him on the June 20th at 40 million euros, okay? So very interesting on that front. When we have a look at his season, obviously I know Crystal Palace went through a change of manager within the season. Obviously I have Patrick Vieira there at the start of the year. Towards the back end of the season, they had Roy Hodgson. So he played in all 38 games last season, which is a really good sign that is a guy that's going to play a lot of football. He scored 10 and assisted 4, so 14 goal contributions in that time. So you're looking at about a game in every 2.5 games, he's giving you a goal contribution. It's something that I've always thought about with the Palace winger, especially as Zaha, for example. If you're the most dominant winger, and I would look at Eze as a guy who does get a lot of attention from defences. A lot of teams push over to you. They give you less space, they double you up. And I think Elise was the beneficiary of that. Whereas I think this season, it will swap over a little bit. I think Elise might get doubled a little bit more, and Eze would be given a lot more sort of freedom to roam and play, should he stay, obviously, at Crystal Palace. The good thing is he plays a lot. He's played a lot of football. You know, he played... they actually broke it down. He played 12 games as an attacking midfielder. He actually played 11 games as a central midfielder. He played 5 games as a winger and 5 games as a left midfielder. So he is a hybrid. He could play in the centre. He could play on the wing. I think at Spurs he'd be more of a winger. But as a box-to-box, maybe Postecoglou could get some coaching within that realm and give him that sort of freedom to do that as well. But actually, he had a good season overall. I think Crystal Palace is sometimes a difficult place with sometimes lack of performance and striker position. I think defensively always been solid, compact, very difficult team to break down. But sometimes you don't get, 15, 20 goals a season from your striker position. They've relied a lot on Zaha and Elise and Eberechi Eze. So bit of an interesting one. But yeah, I think 40 million euros, you're talking, let's say 35 million pounds. I think you're probably getting for about 40 odd million pounds is probably where you're going to be getting him for. Is it a good deal? I think, when he's just about to hit his prime, it's not the worst deal in the world. I don't see him coming, if I'm honest. And that leads me beautifully onto a second story. And this story, just really quickly, and it was from Paul O'Keefe, and someone had tweeted him saying, thoughts on the window so far? And he said, everything hinges on Kane's situation. Someone then also tweeted him saying, is Højbjerg close to leaving? Is this true? And he said, last I heard, they need to sell to buy and are trying to raise funds. So expect the exodus coming before we start buying again heavily, okay? So there'll be more videos of me talking about how we're going to be selling players than probably bringing them in the next week or so, okay? So that is interesting. So let's talk a little bit about another player potentially leaving. Let's talk Kane. And from 90-minute football, they said Bayern's hierarchy understood to be divided on their next move. While some are encouraging an improved bid for Harry Kane, others believe they are fighting a losing battle and are keen to start to look elsewhere. We know Kolo Muani could be on that list. Dusan Vlahovic could be on that list. There's a few people that Bayern have been linked to alongside of Kane as their backup options. Okay. But we know from Sky Sports that we're expecting a third bid, and they say it's going to reach about 95 million, which a lot of those reporters have said they still don't think that will be enough to get Levy to come to the table. And I think, as I reported in other videos, I think Kane's kind of expecting now to stay. Let's crack on with the season. Let's say Kane's staying. Let's move out other deadwood to fund other moves, and let's kick on now. And I think that's the way we should be looking at this now. Let's get the season rocking and rolling. Kane's here to stay. Let's get a team around him where we say, look, you can see what we're building. There's a bit of youth coming through here. Some guys with some seriously good talent. We're here to kick on now. And last little bit of news from Simon Jones in the Mail Sport, and he says that Tottenham are considered favourites to sign Brennan Johnson, although Brentford remain in the mix for the player's signature. Now, the interesting, Brentford obviously just sold, I believe he's gone. He might be a here we go confirmed, but I think he's gone. David Raya's gone to Arsenal for 30 million, which I think is irked for you Spurs fans. I'm not talking about it right now. They'll have the money to spend on a Brennan Johnson, as Nottingham Forest want 40 to 50 million with that realm. And you can see what I'm saying. I think Brennan Johnson's more likely than Eze, purely because of the fact we don't have that sort of player. Well, we do have that sort of player in a Solomon and in a Son, whereas on the right wing, you could look at it and kind of go, got Kulusevski, and what else we got? You got Brennan Johnson. And then you got Richie and Kane. And I'll tell you what, as a six-man group, that's solid. But we're going to have to sell before we go to buy, evidently. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the video. Drop a like on it if you did enjoy it. Hit me in the comment section below. Sell to buy? Thoughts on that? Thoughts on the Kane situation? Brennan Johnson? Eze? You let me know below. I'm always keen to see what you guys think, and I'll always try and converse with you. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hit the bell notification for more. But anyway, guys, that's the end of the video, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care, lads.